found out he had a wife.
Mm-hmm.
You found out that he was arrested for domestic violence, lied about that.
Yes.
And then, once again, he's hitting you, cut your hair, and your family finds out.
Mm-hmm.
Did you stay with him after this, or was that your final straw?
I stayed with him after. My family found out. It was literally on accident. I was on FaceTime with my cousin, and I just picked up the phone, not thinking like, girl, you have a black eye. Not thinking I have that didn't even cross my mind. So I picked up the phone really quick, and then you know how you can see yourself in the FaceTime? I put it down so fast. She's like, no. Pull that phone back up. Like, let me see your face. And I showed her, and she told my parents. And my parents had told her, like, don't tell her that you told us, like, we gonna go out there. Like, don't say nothing. So one of my other cousins gives me the heads up, like, your mom's coming out here in 2 days. I don't know what you need to do, but that man needs to get out of your house. So that was my dilemma at that time. And my cousin, she ended up telling her, like, her girlfriend what's going on with me. And I text her, because this is what I used to have to do to leave the house. I would text her and say your mom's out here and she wants to see me. Because her mom lives in California as well. So me and her both from California. All our family lives in California. So she would text me like, hey, cousin, my mom wants to see if you can come over. So I would have to show him that.
Okay.
To get the approval to leave. So he wouldn't think anything of it. So she did that. They came and got me. And her girlfriend was like, so what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't want to be with him. Like, I need this to be over. She called one of her friends, and she said, I need you to handle something for me. We go pick up her friend, guy I'd never met before. And this is the first thing he said to me when he got in the car. Do you want me to kill him? And I'm like, no. Like, I couldn't, there's no way I could deal with that on my conscience. You killing somebody behind me, or you potentially getting in trouble. No, there's no way. I was like, no, I just need him out the house.
All right. So the title of this video is I Loved Him Through Prison Until He Almost Took My Life. This is a pretty common story that a lot of women address consistently, right? You see the conversation that's had of why do a lot of modern women choose men who are obviously toxic and stick with those men or are attracted to certain attributes and turn down the men who they may call lame, boring, or not as exciting. In this video, this woman went through a lot. You know, there's some DV that happened, and she shares that. Now, I'm trying to be better. My intention here isn't to drag this chick for the bad decisions she made. However, I do think that she serves as an example for this mentality that a lot of chicks have today of chasing the man with the bag, or the man who may appear like he has the bag and can pay all my bills and can take me on a shopping spree, which they went on their first date. But all this came with its own consequences. Let's keep listening.
So my ex is now texting me. My boyfriend, ex now, is texting me like, oh, you good? Like, you having a good time? And I'm just being nice. I'm not even letting him know that we're on the way back to the house. I'm not, because in my apartment, if you lock like the top lock, no one can get in, even if you have a key.
Okay.
So I didn't want that to be the case. So I'm just texting him like, yeah, I'm good. He doesn't even know I'm almost to the house. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. So happy to see my auntie. We get in that, we park, go up to my apartment. The guy instantly walks in and was like, bro, you gotta leave. And seeing how my ex was so violent with me, I expected there to be an altercation. Nothing.
With another man in the room, nothing.
Mind you, it's me, my cousin, her girlfriend, so it's 3 girls. He's packing his stuff, gets his stuff out of the house, and he was like, can I talk to you for a second? I'm like, okay, what's up? He was like, I just can't believe you would do this to me. You know, like, what I've been through and all this stuff. Girl, tell me why I start crying. I'm crying because I'm like, oh my, I'm feeling bad. Like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have done this. Like, he has been through a lot. He's seen his mom go through this type of stuff. So what, like, this is all he knows. So maybe I should be nicer to him or whatever. He ends up leaving. He's out of the house. We didn't talk for a few days. Then he started calling me private because I had blocked the number. He started calling me private. We get back in contact, and I move him back in.
So he was arrested, he was incarcerated, and you held him down for the 2-3 months that he was still locked up. And you told me that after you guys moved in together, you guys were looking to move in together. How did that conversation begin?
So it actually began once he came home. So when the day he was coming home, he called me earlier that morning. He's like, oh, I came home today, but I'm gonna come by and see you before I go to my grandma's house, because he had lost his house and all that at that time. And I was like, okay, cool. Gave him the address of where to come and all that, because mind you, like, he didn't have my address or anything, so gave him that and went down to get him. I was living in a building where you have to go down and get your gas or whatever. Went down to get him. And then he came in the house, had cooked and all that. And we were just talking, just happy to see each other, happy to be in each other's presence. He was like, so what do you think about me, like, moving in here and, just taking care of everything? And at this time, I'm thinking, like, okay, I've already fell for him conversation. So I'm thinking, okay, well, you're already my friend. Like, why not? Like, what's the worst that can happen?
When she says fell for him, she saw his Instagram, saw that he was flashy, assumed he had money. They finally met up, and they met up and went for a shopping date. And after that, he got locked up. Right. That's it. That was like, and then she started writing to him and kept up with him. The man who took her on the shopping date after that one date. And here she is now. He wants to move in.
And baby, did the worst happen.
Yeah. Speaking of the worst happening, you mentioned that something happened that night that you guys did decide to move in together. What happened that completely shook you to your core?
So he wanted to be intimate. And I was just like, okay, well, let's get tested together first, because you're coming out of jail. I don't know what you're doing in there. Of course, I would never find out. And just to be safe, and I don't know who you've been with before you even went to jail. So just to be safe, like, let's get tested together. And I guess he felt offended, and he punched me right in my face.
He punched you?
He punched me right in my face.
How did you react to that happening?
I just jumped back and I just started crying. Like, why would you do this to me? Like, why? Like, why? Because I had never experienced that before. So it was a shocker. And then I was shocked because it's this person that I'm starting to fall for. Well, that I'm already in love with at this point. They did that to me. And it just, he ended up beating me up that night, spit on me. I had never been spit on a day in my life. That was the first time I ever got spit on.
What happened after this happened, when he put his hands on you? Did you want to leave? Did you leave?
I didn't leave. I was scared and embarrassed, and I didn't want to hear "I told you so" from family and friends, because they were basically telling me, like, you're moving too fast. Like, you don't really know this person. And I didn't want to hear, like, okay, y'all was right. Like, we're right. We told you this. So I was just like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? I was scared of him, embarrassed, and I don't feel like I can talk to anyone about it, because I don't want anyone to be like, girl, we told you this. So I'm just like, okay, I didn't know what to do.
Who exactly was telling you to stop, to not speak with him?
Cousins, and a couple of my cousins and a friend of mine. They were just like, this is jail talk. This is how these men talk. They say whatever to get whatever. And I'm like, no, he's different. Y'all don't know him. Like, he's so sweet. And they were completely right.
So I'm hearing a lot of things, man. And, of course, the first thing that I recognize is when asked who was in your life, I recognize there's a lack of a father figure there in this woman's life. On top of that, I can hear it in her voice that this woman is still traumatized from that situation. This is why I always say, when you see people in certain situations, you know that somebody out there has to be warning them. But what encourages this? What encourages women to pursue this and ignore all the red flags? I believe this culture of only valuing the men that you see solely based on what they can do for you when it comes to what they provide for you financially increases the chances of women ending up in these situations. You go to a lot of these videos that you hear of women talking about their experience in the current dating market. It's very obvious that character is a low priority when it comes to the list of things that they're looking for. They will sacrifice good character, a peaceful man, if he has the means or the money, regardless of how he gets that money. You guys know that I've actually done a few videos of chicks being like, the men who are locked up, the men in prison, they're you guys' actual competition. They have no problem spoiling women from inside. Now, that may sound a little bit extreme to you, and you may think, well, that's only an extreme type of woman. Well, I don't look at it that way. I look at it from the perspective of chicks today do not know how to pick a man for a healthy relationship. By the time that they're finally ready in many cases have been traumatized, and it just gets harder and harder for you to finally find the man who you should have given your time and attention to in the first place. Now, to this lady, it sounds like she did learn her lesson. She didn't have to go through that, but she's grown from that. I can recognize that and congratulate that, whether it's a man who eventually decides like, hey, I need to make better decisions, or a woman.
Did they meet him before?
No.
Or no, they just saw the whole.
Yeah, me talking about it, like, girl, just me talking about it.
Yeah.
And one of my cousins had been through a situation pretty similar with guys jail talking. So she was like, I'm trying to tell you, like,
Yeah.
And me feeling like, okay, well, I'm grown at the end of the day. I'm going to do what I want. I did what I wanted.
And
all right, you guys can go check out the full video for yourselves on the Decision Pod if you want to. That's it. I appreciate you guys checking out yet another episode of the Coffee Pod. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.